to Quantum Canine, our Row Special Part 2. Good morning.
Morning, Trisha.
And we are reviewing a weekend we had at the Row Camping Conference Center where we had an immersion weekend. People brought their dogs, and we learned a lot from Kevin, his theories. But the thrust of the weekend was, what can our dog teach us about ourselves, our own emotions? What does that have to do with anything? And on our last episode, we reviewed a little bit how the dog and the owner are an energy circuit.
Right.
And
I'd like to throw in right at the beginning that there is no model for emotion right now in mainstream science. I mean, we all experience emotion,
right,
but no one can tell you what it is. I believe a proper study of dogs can definitively answer what emotion is and what a feeling is, and whether the distinction between emotion and instinct, which usually get lumped together, and thoughts and feelings, which always get lumped together. And a proper study of dogs will reveal these fundamental differences, and then you can see your dog as your emotional expression. Because whenever you see intelligent behavior in your dog, reflexively, instinctually, the human intellect creates a brain inside that dog as the center of its intelligence.
a reason, a thought.
That's going by reason,
Right.
So the dog has the reason of defending territory, dominating me, submitting to me, trying to please me, one thing relative to another thing, as if there's this arbitrary divide. So the dichotomy, the false dichotomy between body and mind is also a false dichotomy between dog and owner. The body-mind is consciousness. Dog and owner is one mind.
The dog and owner make up an energy system that's based on emotion, which is energy in motion.
Right.
It's an energetic circuit.
Yes.
And the dog
that
picks
works
up,
according to laws of nature. There's no energy in nature that doesn't work according to laws, not by reason.
Right, so there's no thinking involved.
Right.
The dog is having is part of this energy circuit, this energy in motion that's moving in between the dog and the owner. And the one thing that we were really concentrating on at Row was people's unresolved emotions that they're not even conscious of. They got them deep down. They don't even know they're there consciously. The dog, because they're part of this energy system, energy in motion, emotion, the dog is able to pick up the owner's unresolved emotions and express it in some problem behavior.
Right, which best physically expresses the unresolved emotion. So if there's a fear deep down in there, the dog will reflect that fear. He'll be afraid of something that is a perfect resonance with whatever we're afraid of.
So when someone gives their dog to you to fix my dog, he bites kids, or he does this or that, sure, you are going to heal all of that. But if the dog goes back to the owner and the owner hasn't done that emotional work or hasn't decided to change themselves, that dog is then going to go back into that same energy circuit, and it's just going to happen again.
Right.
And also, I think you've said that even if they don't get it with one dog, another dog's going to come along, another dog's going to come along.
Right.
Because every dog is part of this emotional circuit, reflecting the owner's unresolved emotions. So over the weekend, we saw a lot of people, feeling really guilty, feeling really scared, but recognizing that, they have this emotional, issue that their dog is expressing for them because it's too scary for them to put it in motion.
Right.
Like the woman with the Doberman says, I don't like people. Well, is it any surprise that her dog is terrified of people, especially men?
Right.
Because she's just gone through a terrible divorce and she feels
she was
really
betrayed.
Yes.
She was betrayed, yes.
So, her dog feels like every person is going to betray them. I mean, the dog doesn't cognitively like that, but that's the emotional energy. And if she can move that energy, and she can accept her dog moving that energy, then there's going to be healing, right?
Yes, and let's talk a little bit about fear. Fear is the collapse of attraction. So that Doberman is incredibly attracted to me, but it immediately collapses. And that flooding backward of all that energy is what we call fear. So that woman is still attracted to men. she wants a man
But
in her
she's
life.
scared.
Right.
Right. I mean, she's
Right.
betrayed.
Right. So what she thinks, you could easily think, and again, she doesn't think that anymore, but one could easily think that I don't like men,
Right.
when that would be the farthest thing from the truth.
Right.
The fear reflects even more intense, an intense expression that can't ever be fulfilled, and it'll constantly get stronger and stronger. So her dog was a perfect example of this fear, amplifying fear, amplifying fear, amplifying fear. With every person he's attracted to, it'll intensify. And eventually he's so afraid that he hasn't bitten anybody yet, but eventually, in a certain situation, he would have to.
And with that dog's owner, you could see that the owner loved that dog so much and, felt for him so much that she was willing to deal with her issues
Right.
if that meant healing her dog.
Exactly.
And that, I think that, I'm sure you encounter a lot of people who really just can't deal with whatever it is inside, and
Right.
the dog just continues to manifest these behaviors.
Right.
And we have a couple clips from a couple other dogs that we saw at Roe. The first dog, a man had a